Now we're down at 58. Now we can go higher. And you need about 58 to 60, so we'll go to about 60. Well, we put new windshield wipers on this beast, Mama Mobile for 3BB, and might as well wash her off before we change this oil. Time to grab some oil, and it is crazy. From the regular full synthetic Walmart brand to the regular Castro, it's $20, 22 for Pennzoils, GTX 22, everything's at $22, $23. Full synthetic Mobile One is $24.47. For the Cadillac Escalade, it takes 8 quarts, 0-20, and it takes a 105.75 filter. So we're gonna get 2 of those because it'll give us 10 quarts. So $50 plus a $10, or this is like a $15 filter. So yeah, $65 just for the oil and filter. Let's get those going now. So this trip out to the lake house slash 3BB shop, just kind of need to get, one of my banisters is broken because my kid threw his other friend through it. So I got that from Home Depot. Got some paste. Instead of using the Teflon tape, we're gonna use paste on the fittings for the, if there's any leaks. That's what we're gonna check today. Gonna get that oil changed like we saw earlier. And yeah, maybe solder on the wire for the alternator also. Let's get all that stuff on our oil pan too, as we probably do oil changes out here from now on instead of at the other house. And I got a rug for 3BB Mom's bathroom in here. But first of all, let's go open up this garage and get this stuff in there. Let's get these lights turned on. See if we got any leaks. We got to unplug this golf cart too. It's been charging the whole time we were gone. Yeah, she's done. Automatically turns off. All right, she should be full of power. We'll get some power to this thing. We got all kinds of wires to hook up, but we're just gonna get the fuel pump pumping and see if we have any leaks. And what we are accomplishing today is we're extending our return line that came up just a little bit short, some more 6 AN. And that'll go straight back into the return side of the tank. And where the return MPT 1/4 inch went into the tank, we're gonna go ahead and use a little bit of sealant on it. You can use Teflon tape, it's frowned upon. You really wanna use a paste for metal or plastic pipes. And then this, if you're gonna use Teflon, do not just use the regular white, use the yellow. Even though it's frowned upon, just make sure none of it is gonna be on the threads that are exposed. So like, if you're gonna Teflon tape that, make sure you stay behind that first thread. It's just frowned upon, don't do it. Use the paste, just go to Home Depot, it's like $7. And do that, and then we have some heat shrink for our wire connections. We're gonna have to make a ground. We're gonna have to get one of these out and get a ground somewhere on the body. And once we hit the ground, we can run power to that pump and it'll pressurize the system. We'll see if we have any leaks anywhere. But first, let's get these lines all the way into the tank, and we'll leave the tank down just so we can see if there's any leaks anywhere. And that's those yellow wires right there, that's sending unit, tells you the level. And then that red wire right there, that black wire, black is ground, red we just need 12 volts. All right, let's get this going, get this extended, and get the 8 AN to the fitting right there on the sending side, or the supply side of the tank. So we're gonna use a little bit of this paste on the supply side because that's where all the pressure's gonna be at. The return side has a lot less pressure, but still. Let's get that threaded in there. We already have the cap or the fuel pump back in there. We have the 6 AN already on connector, so we just need to tighten that down. We'll get this back in the top of the tank and then get that line put on it because we haven't put the 8 AN on. Yeah, we cut it to fit. Leave us a little bit of room where we could drop the tank where it'll reach, and then we'll tuck this back up under. Okay, 6 AN is return, the red. Supply is the 6 to 8 AN up to the filter. There we go, and then back to the front. Okay, so that's all plumbed up. Got to find a ground now for our black wire. So I'm gonna let it nice and long so we can drop the tank again. And then we'll run red up to, eventually it'll be wired straight to the Holley EFI, Terminator Max, but right now we'll just give it 12 volts and get the pump to turn on, check for leaks. You're gonna wanna use some heat shrink on these, slide them over, get a little torch or butane or something, and heat those up, and it'll shrink it down, you'll see. So we'll go from that to that. So there you go. Nice and watertight, well, almost all watertight, but just a better connection. And you can get these little kits at Harbor Freight, Home Depot. But yeah, it's just a better connection, it won't bother. And then this is $2 at the checkout aisle, so that kind of stuff. Okay, we have it grounded. Now we just need 12 volts, and we'll fill it with some fuel so it's not burning up the pump, and then we'll look for leaks. She's looking pretty so far. How quiet is that pump? Right? Okay, she's pumping up, pumping back. Let's go check the front. No leaks on any of the injectors. No leak at our pressure sensor. Daising over to the other side. No leaks at our inlet line, any of those injectors. Our outlet down into our regulator. And she is holding, I said it just above 60 PSI. But for these regulators, you just loosen up that nut and you can lower it. Like now we're down at 58. Now we can go higher. And you need about 58 to 60, so we'll go to about 60, a little over 60 PSI at the rail. That is awesome, guys. All right, and I know you're not supposed to have if you want to go drag racing or do anything like that, and go to a racetrack, you cannot have your regulator on the firewall. Just note for self, so you want to mount it somewhere on the splash guard or on the shock tower or something like that. But these don't have shock towers, they're down there. So you can, like my third gen is gonna have a shock tower right here. That's where a lot of people mount it right there. So, but for this Trans Am, we don't have splash guards. They're metal. We didn't have it when we bought the car, but it's just super exciting, guys, to have fuel pressure. That was a big thing. So now that whole fuel rail has pressure, 60 PSI all the way through it, 62. And now it's just a matter of wiring, making sure nothing's touching anything hot. Get our O2 sensor in, and let's check on this bracket I bought, because that tolerance is just a little too close. See that? Yoop, yoop. Get a smaller pulley, or get this bracket on there, but at least get a smaller pulley. But that's exciting, guys. What a quiet pump. Most of these pumps are like, bzzz, but all you need is about 58 PSI at the rail for this system, so. All right, let's mount this thing back up. Leave our breather hanging down, and it says you can go to the fill line, you can, or there's another factory breather system that's involved, so I might tie into that, but we can at least get the tank back in there, and we have fuel. That is super exciting. All right, let's get this tank back up there and check on that bracket. So let's check out this bracket. I already opened it up a little bit. Yeah, it's a nice, all aluminum. Okay. We'll see. See if it lines up the LS3. But all the bolts and everything is ICT kind of thing, but not ICT. When we go back in there to do the belt net tensioner, we'll line it up and see if it fits. But nice product. I mean, it's aluminum, so. But yeah, they probably just copied one of the $250 brackets, but this was $48. So I said, why not? If it fits, it fits. If it doesn't, maybe it'll fit on something else. But hey, we'll take it. And just by looking at the bracket for the alternator, that'll fit just fine. So alternator is gonna work, line up just perfect. But it's just this lower bracket. So we'll see how that goes. And if it can, because what we're gonna do is put a power steering pump in there. And from how it's lining up with those two bolts to that bolt down there on the bottom, see that one? That looks like it actually might just work. So we'll go to that hole right there through that one. I don't know. But yeah, it'll remove the alternator in a little closer. And then, yeah, we'll see. Then we won't need that pulley because the other pulley will be the power steering. We'll see if it fits, but we'll get all that off and check that. But first, let's just get it running with just the alternator. But eventually I want power steering, so that will hold the power steering at the bottom, alternator up top. Cool brackets. Well, now we have just a little bit of Terminator X to wire up. We got right here in the glove box, and I hope that helps somebody along the way to do a fuel system. That's the first return style, start to finish fuel system that I've done all by myself. And I am a truck driver by trade. I'm 3BB's dad. If you don't know me, you probably came over from Just Trucking, my channel. I have a motto, know your worth. And right now the trucking industry is just kind of starving. A lot of loads, but it's just not a good time right now. So I'm using my free time to come on down here and do this. And I can't tell you how excited I was to get 60 PSI on that regulator and not have a leak anywhere. Made me feel very accomplished, and I'm kind of learning this stuff as I go. I appreciate your guys' comments. I appreciate everything you do, and I'm just trying to do layman terms for stuff like this. If you want to do it at your home, or you have a project that you haven't done, or kind of get scared about it, it's just connecting wires. And there's a lot of good people and a lot of good friends out there that can give you a lot of good feedback. There are some ones that aren't so nice, but there's a lot of people that are great. So take the good with the bad and learn and have some fun and enjoy these cars until they're gone, you know, because we all know electric's taking over now. So these things, have fun while you can. On that note, though, God bless you. Thanks for tuning in to 3BB again today. And now it's just wires, and we should be cranking, and that's going to be exciting. So on that note, we have fuel pressure, and I'm pretty stoked about that. God bless you. We'll see you on the next one.